Hello everybody, I'm Nora Burrows and we are in my car. Can you believe it? We're not at my dining room table. So I'm super excited because we're going on an adventure today. We're gonna go to my local quilt shop. We're right outside my local quilt shop and I have some gift certificates. So I'm gonna go on a little mini shopping spree. I am so excited. I have some specific projects I wanna look for fabric for, but then I also just generally wanna see what catches my eye and get some treasures. So let's go see what we can find. I'm all ready with my face mask. I thought you might want to see my face mask that I made out of this beautiful Tula pink fabric. So you can't really tell, but this is a butterfly here, which once you realize it's a butterfly, it looks a little weird. But I'm all ready, masked up. Let's go. Let's hit the sale area first. See what they have on sale. I really like this one here. That's really cool. I have a wedding quilt I need to make that would be perfect for. It's on sale for $9 a yard. I've been waiting for the Tula pink fabric to come in. I don't think it's in yet, but let's go check. She said it would be in either this section here or one other spot. We'll check the other spot because it doesn't look like it's here, but this is some beautiful fabric. Let's go look at the other spot. This is really cool. I like that. Alright, here's Tula's old line. I want her new line. I wasn't a big fan of this line of Tula's, but I'm waiting for the Alice in Wonderland line. Should be in the next couple of weeks. They have a huge boutique section here. Baby quilt, wouldn't they? We have a ton of wool here, so many different colors. These are just little pieces though. These are all ironing boards in these different patterns. And they have different sizes. There's some smaller ones over here. They fold. These are like suitcases for your quilting materials. How awesome is that? And some smaller ones here. Those are pretty cool. Okay, I'm back in the car. I had a great time. Let's go check out what I got. I'm back from the quilt shop and I realized that in the quilt shop you could not hear a word I was saying because I was whispering so quietly. I was trying to be as discreet as possible, but perhaps next time I'll need to be discreet and talk a little louder. So you just have to hold the speaker right up to your ear so that you can hear what I'm saying, or it doesn't matter. I was not saying anything important. So let's take a look at what I got. So over here, I'll give you a quick peek. There's all my stuff. I got some really good stuff. So we'll take a closer look at my haul. First thing I got is probably more interesting to me than it is to you, unless you're an English paper piecer. I tried my hand at English paper piecing after really thinking I was gonna hate it so much, and I started doing some hexagons. I think people call them hexies, and they're super cute. So I don't really do English paper piecing except for hexagons, but basically I make all of these little hexagons and then hand sew them together, and maybe someday I'll do a little video on these English paper piecing hexagons. but I've been making two different sizes. So this is the 1 inch side, and you measure it based on how long the side is. And then here's the 1.5 inch size. And I really like these because I kind of put them together by color with all of my scraps. So this is kind of the yellow, gold, brown one. Don't you love that sun? Super cute. And then this one is just like a playful one with a cat. Anyway, I am out of papers. And so I went to get more papers, but while I was at the store, I couldn't remember what size I needed. And so I guessed I got 2 inches, and 2 inches is neither one of the sizes that I use. So I guess I'll be making some 2-inch hexagons, and then I'll have 3 sizes, which is kind of fun. So I got my hexagons. I'm excited about those. Then I've been doing a little bit of wool applique, you know, like a wool background and then wool applique on top of the wool, which is amazing. And I've deeply fallen in love with wool. But what I didn't realize when I started, you know, being interested in wool on wool applique is that wool costs so much money. I had no idea. I don't know why wool is so expensive. If you know why wool is so expensive, let me know. But I did get some more wool, which I'm really excited about, and I paid about $1 gazillion. So like these little squares are like the size of my hand, and this pack, I won't spend this whole video complaining about how much everything costs, I promise. This little pack of 5 cost $10. So people in the wool world probably think that's a good deal, but it's, you know, you gotta be prepared. Anyway, so these are all kind of like a violet color. Let's take a closer look. So here's my lavender wool, and it comes with these little cute owl buttons on the top. I don't know anything about wool or wool brands except the fact that I love wool and am newly obsessed. This is in the Patch Designs. And let's open these up and take a look. So I love purples and violets that have quite a bit of gray in them, just like these. Ooh, this is interesting. This is kind of like grunge themed. Grunge is like in right now. I didn't know if you knew that, but it's like the new thing. It has some kind of like burgundy dots along in it. That one's really pretty. That might be my favorite. And you know the herringbone is my fave. I love herringbone. So those are the purples. And then I got a pack of greens. Let's take a look at the greens. I love that they all come with these little buttons. I'm gonna collect these little buttons. Aren't they adorable? I can do something with those. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with herringbone, but I just think it's kind of fancy. Fancy and rustic at the same time. Ooh, look at the difference there. That's really great. That will give me a choice. That's like kind of neon-like. I need a lot of greens because there's a lot of like trees and grass and leaves and things like that in applique. So it's good to have a variety of greens. Ooh, this kind of mossy green. Green is actually my favorite color. I like kind of like the citron green or a mossy green. That's a really handsome green. That has a little like blue in it. Then I got this pack of pinks. And then this one comes with 4 buttons. I'm obsessed with these buttons. You know, you could even, because these are wooden, you could even paint these buttons. So I currently had no pinks in my wool stash, so I wanted to add some pinks. Let's see how big these pieces are compared to the green. So they're a little bigger than the green. I'm trying to remember the name of this type of pattern. I want to say it's something teeth, like something teeth. Comment if you know, I can't remember. There's that. And then this is the same, oh no, this isn't the same kind of pattern. This is like a checker, like a plaid pattern. Pink and gray, or pink or brown, which is this kind of like a browny gray with this, I love. So that's really cool. And just a solid pink. And I think this is hand dyed, which is why it has kind of like this tie-dye look to it, which is not my favorite, but that's okay. And then this one kind of has that like hand-dyed look as well, where the color is not like even throughout. It's like a little darker here. That may be some people's like cup of tea. It's not mine. It just, I don't know. I'm not loving these two pieces. These two pieces are a little bit too, like, doesn't look professional to me, but that's okay. I can cut like little pieces out, like little berries and stuff, and you won't even notice that. Here's the last one. This one is more consistent in color, so that's great. Perfect. All right, and then I got this nice big piece of green here. Again, the herringbone. I love this green, like a lime green, so that's really pretty. And then I got this gray. Can't go wrong with a gray herringbone, and I actually didn't have any gray in my stash either, and I didn't realize until I was working on a project that I really need gray. So that's a nice one too, and these wools feel so good. Next, I got this book because I cannot go into a quilt store without buying a book. And this one I was super excited about because this is all just pictures, but these are all quilts from the International Quilt Study Center and Museum. And so these are historic quilts. A lot of them are from the 1800s, and then some of them are newer, but most of them are pretty old, which I really love. And I've actually been watching, so they have the introduction, but then after the introduction, they just have, you know, a ton of pictures, and then it has the name of the quilt. It has the full quilt on the left, and then it kind of zooms in on parts of the quilt on the right. It has the dimensions, the date, and then if they know who made the quilt, they list that. And some of these are just beautiful. And it reminded me how important it is to sign your quilts. Let me see if I can find one that was signed. Here is this quilt that's beautiful. And here is the back of the quilt. You can see they flipped the quilt over, and they labeled who made the quilt. So this is a multi-generational quilt. Each one of these ladies kind of did something different to the quilt, but it's a reminder to me that it's important to label your quilt with the date, who made it, if somebody different quilted it, who quilted it. If you gifted it, I think it's nice to write who it's gifted to and what the occasion is. So this is really cool. I'd like to try this too. So here's the full quilt, and then these are just like pieces of fabric folded onto each other. Here's the center, and then it kind of radiates from there. That's kind of super cool. So anyway, I was really excited to find this book, and I'd like to try some of the blocks in here, maybe even as a quilt sampler. Like I could do, you know, this block as one block in the quilt, and then, you know, this block as another block. That would be a lot of fun. Oh, and see here, this person labeled their quilt by doing this embroidery here, which is really cool. It's made in Ohio. So the other project that I needed to get fabric for is this quilt here, which obviously has already been made. This was made by my great aunt Phyllis, given to my mom, and then my mom gave it to me. It was made in the 1970s. And speaking of labels, I really want to make a label for this quilt, and I need to do some serious repair on this quilt. So what I would do for the label is I would write who made it, when they made it, who it was gifted to, and then I would write the date that I did repairs on the quilt. So I needed to buy some fabric to do the repairs. I also wanted to say this blanket is so heavy. I mean, it's like you could get a workout lifting this blanket. I don't know if there's like, I don't know I don't know why it's so heavy, but it's like a gazillion pounds, which I love because I'm always cold. So this is great to snuggle up on. And I will use this quilt. I know people have different opinions about heirloom quilts. And even though this quilt was obviously, when it was made, I mean, these are just scraps. Like, I don't think that Aunt Phyllis intended this to be an heirloom quilt. I think that she just really loved my mom and wanted to make her a present, right? But I consider this to be an heirloom quilt because, you know, it's 50 years old and it was made with love, and so I consider it really special. Now, people have different opinions about how heirloom quilts should be stored and used, and my personal opinion is they should be used as much as possible. I think that Aunt Phyllis would be really happy that I am fixing up the quilt and that I am going to use it. I think other people, and there's no right or wrong answer, but I think other people think that they should probably be folded in a certain way and stored with acid-free tissue paper in between the layers, and because this will, even if I mend this, it will continue to deteriorate. It will just get more and more and more and more deteriorated. So I need to be emotionally and mentally prepared for that, which I am. I think that's great. I'll just keep fixing it. And at some point, there may be none of the original fabric left, and I think that's okay too. So, point being, I needed to look for fabric to go with this. So let me show you that. So let me give you a better look here at some of the damage. This is kind of a good spot to see. You can see that this fabric that looks like it had a racehorse or something on it is just shredded. But what is neat is that you can also see behind the shredding is kind of this green striped fabric. And I think, so that's the batting. I think what must have happened is that Great Aunt Phyllis used a blanket as the batting, which I think is really neat because you can see that behind a lot of these pieces that need repair. There's that green stripe, and then there's also this blue stripe behind here. So you can see this fabric is totally gone. But what I'll do is I will kind of tack the original fabric down and, you know, put a piece over it. I'm going to leave as much of the original fabric as I can. So that's that, which brings me to, and there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of different fabrics here that need mending. You can see here that the same thing. And so pretty much all of these different fabrics need to be fixed. So I needed a variety of fabrics, but I needed them to be kind of look like they were from the 70s. And things like stains, like this stain here, I'm just gonna leave it. I mean, as long as it's not smelling or, you know, whatever, I'm just gonna let that be. So I needed fabrics that looked like they were from the 70s, but part of the problems with those types of fabrics is that they have a very crisp white background typically, and this quilt is pretty faded, and so it has kind of an ivory background now. So I thought it would be nice to have a variety of types of fabric to choose from. What I was thinking for that quilt is that because most of the repairs are pretty small, that I would get a little charm pack. I actually got a couple of these little charm packs. I'm gonna open them up. And that way I can take that. So these ones are supposed to be, I think, more like the Civil War recreation fabrics. But I flipped through here and I thought that some of these looked like they might work. They also might not. But I don't really ever buy pre-cut fabrics because for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's not cost effective. So you're basically paying somebody else to do the cutting, and I don't mind cutting, so it's cheaper just to buy fabric by the yard. So that's one reason. Another reason is that I don't like getting a bundle and then some of the fabrics I like and some of them I don't. I'd rather just pick the fabrics that I definitely want to have. And the final reason is I'm obsessed, newly obsessed with salvages. And so these fabrics don't have, and the packs you get, you don't get the selvage. But this is kind of special that I get these packs because since I don't usually buy them, I'm like feeling like they're extra fun and special. So what I was thinking is because the repair on the quilt, most of the repair that needs to be done, for example, like, like here, I can just take a little piece and use it. I thought that they were kind of a nice size and that I would get a lot of variety to be able to find ones that were more 70s look. Here's one though. You can see it has, you know, the crisp white background, and that's part of the challenge is that this quilt no longer has that crisp whiteness. It's that ivory. So I need to find fabrics that have more of a cream background like this. This, I think, is also like a Civil War reprint kind of thing. So it's not the 70s, but I might be able to find ones in here that look a little bit 70s like, that have that cream background. So I thought I would just open these up and see what we've got. I haven't even really like looked too intently at these, so so it's kind of fun. And then I thought, let's see how many you get per. So it's one per fabric, which is really interesting. So I was thinking with the ones that I don't use, maybe I should just make a quilt out of the ones that I don't use, which I guess is what people do, right? I mean, people buy these packs and then they find a pattern. I could just cut these all into like 2-inch squares. So these are 5, so I could cut these into like 2-inch squares or 2.5-inch squares and then make a big quilt out of 2.5-inch squares. Some charm packs will come with like multiple squares per fabric, so like you might have like 2 or 3 of these print and then 2 or 3 of these print, but it looks like this one is 1 fabric per, and I think this is the same thing, maybe just a different size. Let's see what brand this is. Oh, and then it has this sheet that lists, I guess, the different fabric numbers. So this one is kind of 70s like, right? Is that 70s? I don't even know. I feel like once I start looking at too many fabrics, let me put that one aside. Once I start looking at too many fabrics, they'll kind of blend. This could be 70s, I think, right? I'll put that one aside, even though that one's not super exciting, but that's okay. Are you utterly bored, or do you like looking at fabric as much as I do? I could do this literally all day, but I think some people are probably like, click on to the next video. Let's see you actually do something. This is cool. That's super cool. This is kind of boring, but I mean, it could work. I think it could work, right? Maybe yes, maybe no, I don't know. Oh, it looks like there's 2 of these. So this one there is 2. I'm gonna put these ones aside. Those might work. I like that. So I need to figure out what to do with these. And this is, in case you're wondering, the brand Lancaster by Joe Morton, and it's a Moda fabric. I'll speed it up a little bit. That's sweet. I think I'll make a challenge for myself and try and come up with a project idea for these. I don't really want to take, that's cool. That's super cool. I love this. Maybe I should make piles of the ones that I'm obsessed with. I don't really want to take like a pre-existing pattern that's made for 5-inch charm packs and use that. I kind of would like to do something more interesting, but what that interesting thing would be, I do not know. Get a lot of these. Oh, and here's another one that you get more than 1. So I guess some of them you get 2 and some of them, most of them you get 1. That's 70s, I think. I mean, not color-wise, but kind of the look of it. It's too bad it's not like reds and blues and creams. So if you have an idea of how I can use these 5-inch squares that is not following a specific pattern, let me know, and what I should make. I mean, I could make a set of placemats. That would be kind of cool. Oh, this one is very 70s, isn't it? Oh, that's a good one. I'm going to put that one aside. We're almost to the end here. I'm not a big fan of black. Like, I probably will never use these blacks. I will probably put these directly into my scrap bin. But it's so dull and morbid to me, these. I don't see them as classic. I just see them as like dull and drab and the opposite of exciting. What's the opposite of exciting? Just depressing, kind of. So these will go right into my scraps. I'm not even going to put these with the rest of them. This one even kind of is dull and drab, but it does have those pops of burgundy. Okay, let's see what's next. This one is much happier. So this is Nancy's Needle. So this is a Civil War reprint fabric. So these fabrics were originally printed between 1850 and 1880, which I think is so cool. I feel like you're making projects out of history here. I love Civil War reprint fabrics more than like practically anything. And I bet some of these will be kind of, I could make them kind of 70s like, but I love these and I love blue. Looks like there's two of this print there. This is paisley, I think, like a paisley. This is not my favorite. Don't really care for that. I like that. Looks like wallpaper. I like this much better. This paisley is right up my alley. Love. Love. This one, I wonder if that could work. I think it's too dark. Oh, this could kind of be 70s like. Maybe. I'm going to put that aside. Second one of these. I'll put that with it. You know, I mean, these kind of mustard colors are 70s. I'm going to put these aside. Maybe they'll work. Hopefully I'm not ruining this heirloom quilt. Part of me feels like I should just let it be, but I can't really let it be and use it. It really will get bad fast. I love that. Maybe you can comment about what I should do about this quilt. This is something else to keep in mind with fabrics, is some of them, if they're too light, you can see through it, which is not great. So I probably won't use this one. I'm going to put that one in my scraps. I probably won't use that for anything. This one even, I bet if you have a dark fabric behind it, oh, that one's not as bad. And I really do like this fabric a lot. It's gorgeous. But this one, you can see through the back of it. I don't care for that. I'm going to put that into the scrap bin. That's pretty. Again, into the scrap bin, you can see through it. Do not like. Yep, I don't like that. I feel like the fabric needs to be thicker with those light fabrics. Usually it's just batting behind it, so it doesn't matter, but still. I mean, you can see when you have the seam allowance, you can see it sticking through there. I don't care for that. That's gorgeous. I love this color pattern, the blush pink with the taupe and kind of like that off-white with the black. That's really pretty. Ooh, that's a surprise. Here come the greens. Greens are my favorite, though I'm not a fan of that. And this kind of green is not really my favorite. Don't really like this one. Nope. Not in love with any of these, but they might work for the quilt. Like this one actually might be tonally nice for the quilt. I'll put that one into the quilt pile. And here's some purples. Not a big fan of these either. It's just not quite my tone, and then I'm not a big fan of the blacks. Let's just go through these blacks. Yeah, those will go into the scrap bin. Okay, so next I have this 30s Playtime, which is going to be, this is going to be more my cup of tea. The challenge here is going to be a lot of them are going to be on kind of this crisp white, which is not going to work, as I mentioned. It's just going to be too white for this quilt. But I think some of them will work. Like even this front one is more of a cream than a pure white. So let's take a look and see what we have here. I mean, this could even go nicely. That fits. That one, I don't know. Once you start looking at these too much, it's hard to see, you know, what goes together. Everything kind of starts to blend. Now this, I would love some yardage. This is the first one that I've seen that I would actually really like some serious amounts of material in this. It would be a fantastic 4th of July quilt. But I just have a little square. Maybe I'll make a, you know, there are some blues in these Civil War reprint fabrics. Maybe I could do a 4th of July quilt with some of these. That could be fun. I think I might do that. Ooh, I got 2 pieces of this one. Excellent. Maybe I'll make a pile of, oh, that's cute. Little dogs and flowers. I'll have to look through my stash and see what other reds and blues I have for, ooh, that would be good for the 4th of July quilt too. What other reds and blues I have. Ooh, I see another one coming up behind this one. Let's just look at that. I love that. Let's see if that one would work with the quilt. I think it's just too white. But, you know, even the ones that are too white, they will fade over time. So maybe it doesn't matter so much. Maybe I should just go for what I want to do. It's probably, ooh, this one is very 70s. Look at that. That one I bet would go nicely. Maybe it's too dark, but I don't think so. I think that could work. And then this is the same as the first one that was on top. It's just a different background. I really like all of these. More dogs with flowers. This would be good for my hexagons that we were talking about at the beginning of the video that was like 10 hours ago, because this video is stretching far longer than I anticipated, but I kind of can't stop. I probably shouldn't be showing you every single one of these. I doubt that you care, but once I start this kind of thing, I can't stop. This is adorable. Look at that. Oh, God, I love that. I really think I need to do a quilt with these heart blocks, kind of make these the center. I think a 4th of July quilt would be awesome. I'll see if I can get it done by 4th of July. That would be a good goal. That also would work, but it's too white. The background, I can tell you it's too white. This would be good. That would work. Look at that. That'd be perfect. I love this yellow too. I really like a good, like mustardy yellow. And this isn't quite mustardy, but this is like, it's not a light yellow. I'm not a big fan of light yellows, but this yellow is substantial. And I like substantial yellows, so I'm a fan of those. This is a little too like Eastery for me. I like Easter, but this like Easter color scheme is not my favorite. I like that. That's a nice color. These big daisy flowers are a little too, I don't know, something for me. More of the puppies, the doggies. Are those little Scotty dogs, I think? I think that's what they are. Ooh, that could work. How about that? That would be perfect. Okay, that's a winner. More hearts, but these aren't the red, white, and blue, so this would have to be a different project. 2 of those. This is not my cup of tea. I don't care for that. Eh. I am not a fan of green and purple together. I really like a nice grayish purple, and I really, really love green, but green and purple together, nope, not for me. And more hearts. I love the hearts. Okay, so that is it for the little charm pack. The last project that I needed to get fabric for when I was at the quilt store is I need to make a wedding quilt. And this is a challenge because you're making a quilt for somebody else. And so if I were to pick fabric that I wanted for a quilt for me, that would be very easy. But I am struggling with this one a little bit for a couple reasons. Number one, it's not for myself, so I need to think of this other person's taste. And I'll tell you the other reason I'm struggling with this in a second. It has to do with color scheme. But so I found this one and I really love this. So this is kind of like my base fabric that I'm working off of here. And then I found this fabric, which I also love. And it has, you know, the pink, which also kind of looks nice with this. So that works, I think. And then here is where the trouble starts. Then I found this fabric, which I love. And I think it still goes nicely with these, but the problem is I'm starting to have too many of this gold color schemes. And you can see I added in an additional gold color scheme, which I love. And I think that these actually go very nicely together. Here, you can see them a little bit better from this view. So I'm starting to fall into this mistake that a lot of new quilters make when they're buying their first fabrics for their first quilt. And that is, see, here's more. They didn't have this on a bolt. So I bought some fat quarters of this, which I think goes nicely, right? These all pair really nicely, but it's starting to get into this territory of they are too similar. And the problem with that is, here, let me show you my pattern. Here's my pattern. So it's supposed to be like these flowers in the middle and then these leaves on the edge. I bet when I said I just realized that when I said I was going to show you my pattern, you probably thought a real pattern. I don't really know how I'm going to make this. I just drew it out on paper and I'm going to kind of figure it out. But the point I'm trying to make is that if all of your fabrics are too similar in tone and color, you're not going to be able to tell that these are leaves or flowers or what's going on here. It's all going to just blend. And so you really want fabrics that pop off of each other, that are not too similar in color, that go nicely together but are different from each other. And that's not what's happening here. So here's another fabric here that I was going to use kind of like as the background. What I mean by background is like the squares like behind the flowers kind of thing. But everything is just so similar in color. And then I saw this fabric, which I was gonna do like a big border around the edge of the quilt in this. But I think I'm not gonna do that. This fabric is super popular. I have seen this fabric in so many different places. And I'm sure you could all comment with who makes this fabric, and you'd be like, how ridiculous are you that you don't know that off the top of your head? But I cannot remember who this fabric is by, but I've seen it in a bunch of places. I like it, but I think it doesn't go with this quilt. So I'm kind of putting that aside. And then I did get this kind of polka dot blue fabric, which doesn't really go, but if I had another piece of fabric in here with blue, I mean, maybe it would go. I just need more. I need some green. I need to like take the colors of this fabric, maybe not use this fabric, but take the colors in this fabric and then find fabrics with these colors is what I'm thinking. So I bought these. So here they are. Here's a better view. And I think what I'm gonna do is I need to take another trip to a different fabric store. So I'm pretty familiar at this point with the fabric in that store. I go in there quite frequently, even though I don't always buy a lot of fabric, but I'm pretty familiar with their stuff, and I just don't feel like what I need is there. There is a fabric store about 45 minutes away from me, and they are huge. They have a massive amount of fabric. And so I feel like I need to take a little trip. And I would love to bring you all with me, even though I don't know if you want to do that anymore after this video is so long. But I think this is the end of the video. I don't think I have anything else to show after this. So that's it. That's what I got. I think I got really good stuff. So if you stayed till this point in the video, well done. I am thinking that I'll do another one of these when I take that road trip to the other quilt shop, because I don't know if this was fun for you to watch, but it was actually a lot of fun for me to film and to go through all of my purchases with you all, because I don't really have anybody that I can show my stuff to, and I get a lot of joy out of my fabric purchases, and so I want somebody to share that with. So I really liked going through every single one of those teeny tiny 5-inch squares with you all. So good for me, right? But anyway, as always, this was a lot of fun. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.